get right to it. How's everybody doing today? Let's get into it and let's talk about getting real on harmonic patterns today, especially on Bitcoin. Give me a second. I'm going to tune up some levels here. What's going on, folks? What's the word on today? Welcome back. I'm going to check boost my levels, getting in a little bit late. Feeling better though. Kind of got knocked out over the weekend. Here we go. Yes, much better. Bring in the radio voice. Shout out to an old buddy of mine, not really a friend, but kind of an acquaintance I used to work with, a guy named Pierre Robert, passed away about a week ago. I did an internship with him. The guy's like a rock and roll legend. I worked with him for a couple of months as his intern. What a nice guy. Really a great guy. Anybody from Philly, of course, you know who Pierre Robert is. Um, just shout out, it makes me think about how time can fly, man. It really is amazing how just through the decades things change. Encountered a lot of great people in my life. He was definitely one of them. Guy's a legend and treated me nothing with but kindness. It was just a really memorable experience. I was kind of heartbroken to hear he passed away, but great guy. Anyway, let's talk about Bitcoin and what it's going to do. How are you guys doing today? Let's get in there. Great to see everybody. What's going on? David and Victoria and the skiing rooster are back. Alex, Elijah. Yeah, nice to see everybody. Come on in. Settle in. Hey, you guys got to let me know. Is it easier? What's a better time, 12:30 or 12 o'clock? I mean, I'm kind of always kind of caught up in the morning, but thinking I need to revert back to more the 12 o'clock time. Keep me posted, let you know. Everyone else, folks, Black Friday is already here. Can you believe it? Yeah, pretty amazing. I've been kind of thinking what can we do that's special this year versus prior years. And so a couple of things. First of all, get the 2-week free trial, get the TradingView product. I think that's the best place to start, especially with new folks. We have all of the bells and whistles there. We do have these other platforms that have almost everything, but TradingView has it all. So get 2-week free trial. Send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. Everybody else, get over to harmonictrader.com. The Black Friday special. So this is it. This is your opportunity in the next few weeks with code HPC30. Get the software, and any of them are available to you, 30% off till the end of the month. And you can also try all of the platforms. So TradingView, Ninja, MetaTrader, Sierra Charts, eSignal. If you want, say, 2 of them, like TradingView and one of the other main platforms, we have a combo offer now. And then the other thing that I am doing for all the folks that get it now, first is become a gold member. So the sooner you sign up, the more time you get as a gold member into January 1st. And we do a discounted option for all HPC owners. And then the other thing that I want to highlight that is coming is the pattern profiler. So the pattern profiler is a new indicator that currently we have it in a very raw basic form, but what it will do for you is give you statistical analysis on all patterns depending on your time frame. And you can go through and look at all the metrics. I've mentioned this before. It is not programmed yet because of our memory limitations currently with TradingView. I expect that to change. TradingView's got some really interesting developments that I think I will be coming together with TradingView a little bit more so than I've done in prior years. They do have an entire harmonic pattern section on their website, but I think the critical factor is our ability to do more programming, custom programming, so that we can do refined tools like this. So check that out, and that's only available to everybody that gets the program now and anybody else that's a prior owner. If you shoot me your username on Discord, we can include that, but only now. All right? Everybody else, this is your time to take advantage of all these offers before the end of the year. And I'm also thinking that maybe we do one more follow-up. We had a great strategy session on Thursday, walking through essentially how to turn patterns and interpret all of the information that you guys it's thrown at you. I mean, it's a rather complex program that we've evolved over the last couple of years into trade opportunities flat out. You guys know I'm all about the levels. The value that we provide here is to essentially highlight exact levels and direction with harmonic pattern framework. Right now, Bitcoin up, down. What are you doing with this? And I'm saying, I did a little poll on X over the weekend, and a lot of people still hopeful we'll see 113 before 93. And where is this? Hold on. Where's the tether? 1 second. USDTT. That was the one I wanted to look at. So currently, right now, 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin is like this. And we went through last week and the last couple of weeks of the breakdown of why we thought Bitcoin was headed lower, and we essentially gave it enough time. For immediate concerns, the levels are 106. Why? It's a 4-hour butterfly structure. And then what happened? We ran right into target 1. So we're back into a return phase. That takes you right to 100K. And last time we started talking like this, it turned into a dump stream. Let's see if that transpires now. I don't know. It seems like every time we start talking this at this midday hour, Bitcoin likes to do things. We'll see. Great to see everybody. What's going on? Other folks, I think, just to let you know, as people come in, great to see everybody. Again, come on in. We're here Tuesdays, Thursdays. And I think it will be like, I'll do something like crazy giveaway. The Black Friday this year is, I think it's the 21st. Is it really that Thanksgiving is a week from Thursday? That can't be. When is Thanksgiving this year? Hold on. Let me see that. Because I think we should do kind of a crazy giveaway special. It's the 27th of November. So we still have time. 2 weeks from Thursday. That's still pretty crazy that it's coming up that fast. So, stay tuned. Everything that we're doing, if you get the trial and you guys, access the program, we're going to make the offer good until December 1st. So if you have any questions, hit me up over on the Discord. I hope you know where that is. Yep, great to see everybody. Come on in. What's up, Brian? What's up, Mr. Wayne? Everyone else? Let's take a look. Let me know what you guys want to look at. I guess there are a few crypto that we could dive into that are of interest, immediate kind of happening, not much else. Are we going to get an alt season, guys? Where's the alt season? Like, I'm going to call out Alex Becker. I know he doesn't know who I am, but he's a real funny crypto influencer, whatever, who has been calling for alt season every other month this year. But I think we got to break down Bitcoin immediately. Right now, look at Where's it headed? We're not busting out above that 1618, 1902 range. And I think even on the 4 hour, you got to respect what the framework is telling us. And a thorough retest of 100K incoming now, down 2,800 today. I don't know. I mean, I see this stuff all the time. I mean, here's something just like a little news feed blash. Uh, well, where'd it go? Oh, come on back here. Sorry. Um, I hear this all the time. Yeah, we think there's still a possibility. Who's Dan Tapiero says Bitcoin bull run is still on, but a 70% downturn could follow. What the hell does that mean? What do you make of that? Is it up or down, Dan? Is it up or down? Because I was up until about 4 weeks ago, I was still sticking with extreme expansion targets, 2618 minimum to 155 or 160. But that's been off the table since that flash crash in October because it demolished some signals and it set us into kind of this accelerated retrace phase. So here's the weekly objective and look at the price action. Really leaking down. You can look at the last few times we've been in this retrace phase for Bitcoin. And on the weekly chart, hold on, let me get 1 second, let me get this back. There you go. Thank you. There you go. And this kind of price action that's clearly breaking down is a lot like what we saw. It was February or even May, June of 24. And the one thing I said to you guys that would need to happen before anything could resume up again is getting oversold on HSI on the weekly, no less. And I'm going to stick to that. And I said that 93K, although it's an irregular setup target on the daily here, is still begging to get clipped. And that is, we go back, hold on. Again with these different feeds, but it's a shark to 5-0. It's an ugly shark to 5-0, but it is a shark to 5-0. 93,210. Currently 103,300. My vote on that poll was 93, not 113. And I don't think there's a heck of a lot underneath here. If we break down, we spend another day or two breaking down, I think people are ready to kind of throw in the towel personally. So be aware of that. I'm not going to completely go full on bear, but I will say that really you go back 4 weeks ago, right about where it is today, incredibly already November 11th. All right, since the flash crash wick that really destroyed any opportunity to break out. Also, we got the diamond trigger. So we got an overbought, this diamond that's part of the new updated indicator. We could probably put 100 more dots and whatever on here, but that's not my point. That's not my objective. My objective is to really stamp those areas that are truly overbought, oversold to define direction. And for now, what have we seen? Just read the dots and read what is getting generated. Think of that as like harmonic overbought. All right, reach some temporary harmonic oversold. And then again, we got another down arrow. That's all related to HSI. And until we see a green arrow, guys, trying to simplify this, maybe if we really focus in on it, we're still in a down phase until this can resolve itself. And when I bring up daily HSI, no oversold yet. And so we got to watch this. Critical week. Not only for each daily candle, but you go to the weekly objectives. As I'm saying, if we're still in a down phase, which we are, and a lot of what we talked about last week, that was important, and these breakdowns were important. Okay, until that can turn around, you got to respect it. I know everybody's just loves Bitcoin and wants it to go to a million, but there's a process to all of this. So we'll respect that process. Natural market mechanics at work with the harmonic framework. Until we get there, we got to just be patient with it to define the opportunity. Just because it's down 10% doesn't mean it's an oversold opportunity yet. The final piece that I just want to highlight, little relationships that I see that help me are, simple metrics that in the weekly instance, a lot of these 1618 throwdown retracements like that, little correction moves, like that's a perfect 1618 off the top. And I same can be said here. We all can agree that what happened from June into August was a failed breakout, but we call that a harmonic impulse wave. It's a specific move. Price can't get through the 113. You throw it down to a 1618. And again, all of that's like 96, 97. This is all geared to define minimum levels. Minimum levels. So for now, I'll respect that. If we got to 96 or 97 and generated some oversold signals, I would say, okay, now we can start to look. Until then, not so much. What's going on? Everybody else, great to see you. What's going on? Yeah, Wayne. Alex Becker is a character. I mean, he of your generation, I think he's a really funny guy. I don't agree with what he says a lot of times because it's like a blind, go all in here. And he said that maybe 6, 7 times this year. But, he's funny entertainment. But again, I always say no matter what market you trade, folks, you're here to learn, at least from what we do, harmonic pattern framework to define opportunities. But define opportunities that you are able to determine, decipher. That's what the strategy session was all about. That's a lot of what we do in each of these sessions, kind of highlight strategies and concepts so you guys come away with an ability to decipher the market. Is Bitcoin an opportunity at 103? Not in my book, not in any of my books. And based on the software, we don't have any concrete signals. We'll probably get them. I think we will get some oversold conditions here, but it might be a few more weeks until we see that. Absolutely. We can look at a couple of those. We can look at, let's get the crypto out of the way. People want to look at oil, oil producers. Appreciate that for all of you guys. What's going on, Hegelio and Mr. Mentality? Everyone else being patient is takes time. Yes. A good day, a Taco Tuesday, sure, and a happy Veterans Day to anybody that has served. Appreciate that. My dad was in the Air Force. Shout out to him. And I think and I know some people that have been in the service or currently in the service, and I don't know how they do it, but it's, shout out to all of them. I think people that serve in the military is a big difference from political military leaders, but we won't go there. Let's just keep it in a positive vein for now. A couple of the crypto things. Yeah, we can look at Intel. You got in, what's up, Mr. Polstent? You got in at 21, but you're having a hard time with the concept of do not sell the winners. It's 10% of your portfolio. How would you manage it? Let's look at that when we bring it up. There aren't too many crypto that I really need to dig into for today. The Hey, Mitch Ray in the house. What's up, Mitch? How are you, man? How you feeling? Dude, beautiful backdrop. I saw Mitch's live stream last night with Miami in the background. Really looks nice, man. I think it's also your 4K. Really looks good. Mitch Ray, everybody. Round of applause. Big shout out to Mitch. He's live every night. Check Mitch out over at Mitch Ray TA. Folks, where are we? Where's the opportunity in crypto? Where is it? Because right now, if we're still looking down at Bitcoin, is there anything to consider? And I'm going to stick with this whole idea that Bitcoin has more work to do. But let's look at some of the crazy ones. Like what happened to Zcash? Zcash was 750. Now 495, was as low as 450. And I said there's no opportunity in this, mainly because I was pissed that I dumped it back in earlier this year after being in there back in May. Had like 1,200 of those. Yeah, that was going to be the seven-figure one for the cycle for me, and I gave up on it. Really thinking about what the hell happened. Why did I dump Zcash? Because I simply got kind of exhausted with the up and down, and it was all the way back here. I just thought these were duds. Zcash had patterns. This is what I was looking at back in May. Here you go. Return move. That's right. Playing this kind of, there was some weekly things to the left. And so I'm down here at like 30 something, 33, trying to play the return move. And we got this and it rolled back over. And I think I got out for, it was like 7 or 8 points. It was up 20 or up like 20 and rolled over. I was like, this isn't going anywhere. So, I'm not going to get totally dismissive on all of this. I'm certainly not chasing anything. But how did we know? What was here in Zcash that's somewhere else that would be an opportunity? And you have to go to definitive signals of like weekly oversold, patterns looking left. All of that is, let me get my crypto screen up here. That it's part of the process. We got to let it go. I've been fortunate, last couple of cycles, I caught Doge. You guys know I caught Stellar Lumens last year. I'm not trying to just crash out and say it's over, but I think Zcash was going to be my big winner, and it didn't pan out for me. Would I still be in it? Or would I have been able to even catch it all the way up to 700? Probably not. I would have probably been out. You get some weekly oversold like that, and that was like 450. I probably would have been looking, and I was saying this is almost done once we go through a check back. All of that. HSI oversold, amplified coming down. So again, you compare that with people who are saying, oh, Zcash, this is the next Bitcoin going to 10,000. And I just think those people really need to check themselves. There's too much of that. Again, so much of the crypto sphere in general has been influencers talking nonsense where ultimately you still need to make your own decision. You have to be able to, or you will run yourself into a ditch listening to someone else. The interesting thing about Zcash that I would look at is the simple fact it's respecting 1618 dynamics, which is Zcash of the last cycle went there to there, and then your 1618 for Zcash is like 590, 600. And by all kind of stretches of the imagination, you get to a 1618, guys, this has been the rule that you have to respect. I mean, this is harmonics in action. Simple, weekly, 1618. All right. If it was going to go much higher, you don't retrace. All right. If you're going to blow through and do an extreme move, you continue higher. This one hit the 1618. The next week, we roll over, can't make a new high. So then what's the basic assumption? 1618. Okay. And then come down for a 382 minimum. 1618, even though it went to a 2.0, and then 382, 460. Pretty interesting how that works. Possibly you come back to the 1618, and that's around 590-ish, but think of that as like a 1-2. It already did the type 1. Come on back for the 2. Mitch, you got anything interesting? I'd love to hear if, I know you've been pretty much the same with a lot of this stuff. I've been catching some of your stuff at night with Lucas, no less. And Lucas says hi. But of all the things, guys, this is what 100 cryptos should be doing right now, or they should have started a month ago. They should be in 1618 advances, and they're not. How about something I posted on X, which is Fetch AI, the AI coins? Are these anything we should consider? Because we have these big patterns looking left. There's weekly on FET. XA level was 57. We did get oversold on FET last week and pop out of the zone. The one thing I would look at, folks, if we're really going to move, couple of minimum requirements, like HSI would have to get to the 50 level. Amplified needs to get above the 50. They're not what we say in full development yet. Even though FET popped on the weekly, last week was like bar number 1. Daily time frame is like this. A little more interesting. I mean, patterns inside of patterns. And FET here, okay, did have this crab pattern. What's amazing was that you had the big crash and you still went lower. Managed to pop off of this hop level at 20 cents, but real confirmation was more like 25. The XA pattern for FET is like 34. Okay, but a lot of follow through? Not really. Not yet. Getting overbought already. Of all the ones that I'm looking at, FET and a couple of the other AI coins are interesting enough to consider. But was that a one bar, 1 day kind of explosion and that's it? Let me throw one or two at you. AIOZ. Okay. Same kind of a thing. Lots of patterns down here. No confirmation. No confirmation. So I'm just looking, observing. I would love and still kind of scanning for my 10x play. Go crazy for 2 months, 3 months. But if Bitcoin's not going to do it, and these other coins are just going to keep wallowing down at low levels, I'm just going to be patient. This is different than FET because there was no confirmation. A lot of stuff between 12 and 16, but I need a trigger. And I don't have it. AIOZ, look, other patterns here, but no confirmation at this point. The other one was it Stacks? And I'm not going to spend all day on these, but just to prove that I haven't given up entirely on this just yet, I would look maybe here. Maybe in here, as long as, and this is the key, and this is why we have the software. If I'm looking at weekly levels and I'm looking at, say, something as simple as the RSI indicator, or amplified or HSI, yeah, they have turned around, but they're not in a position to accelerate in any stretch of the imagination just yet. It's great. It's a great setup, and I think if we had some better progress on Bitcoin or Ethereum was giving us some hope, I would feel better about the rest of it. But even Ethereum is needing more time. Here's the daily, and this is another kind of complex back-to-back pattern situation where we've talked about the crab pattern on Ethereum, and this is probably a good one to follow because if all of crypto is going to do something, Ethereum needs to basically get out there in front of it and start the recovery phase. This is a type 1. The crab pattern at 4,700, we were staring at that like deer in headlights in July and August. And I told you guys I completely missed that. Did not have any allocation really to Ethereum. But I said, let's let it come back for at least a type 1. That was 3,500. And it got to 31 with the bat pattern here, back-to-back dynamics. That's great. But are we oversold? Do we have anything that's set up just yet? Not yet. Again, one of the things that I like to look for, especially of why I run indicators, because it really visually helps. Like, is that up or down? It's still down. Are we under 50 or above 50? We're still under 50. I would not consider it until we turned up like that. Until then, let's say you just loved Ethereum and you just believed in the whole Ethereum treasury. It's going to be everything. It's going to be the network of everything. I'm still going to ask you at what price? What's the right price? And for me, you have a type 2, so a full retest. I don't have confirmation. So without confirmation, maybe a reaction, but I'll wait for that. A couple others. Yeah, we can get to those. You guys want to look at, wow, look, the stock crew is here. All right, let's jump to stocks in a second. Are there bears out there? Yeah, there's bears out there. I just think there's lacking bulls. The bulls are lacking. And you see it in the lack of progress. If anything, since October, we basically rolled over. That thing that happened 4 weeks ago, that was, I think, the start of it in terms of technical breakdown. Even Ethereum shows it. You know, Ethereum, where were we? That was 4 weeks ago, right there. The 10th. That big candle. And what happened after that candle? Little rebound. Distribution, acceleration, markdown, keep going. Just to be clear, there's not a lot to go on until we see some real evidence pop its head. And it's not there. The other one that before I get out, look, Solana, there's only a few that would really be tracking. Solana's the other one, guys. And Solana popped this. It's a daily pattern and it's a weekly pattern. First, the daily pattern. If we had any kind of hope for a rebound from 150, we go back to back. Butterfly bearish. Down to bullish. Okay, we were almost at the hop level at 142. The real number is 155. Okay, under 155, and we lose this area. We're in full acceleration mode for target 2 on Solana, which is 105, 106, and I'm more of the opinion these weekly charts show us the real deal, which is title for today. We got to be real. Okay, type 1 to target 1, that was done. As I've said in the past, target 2, Type 2, target 2, is exactly where we are within the framework. Individual price action. Anything there that would be compelling for you to buy? Hell no. And Solana might be fine in the long term. But for now, we have to work through the 1 and the 2 to get there. That's, yeah, check what Ethereum on the 12 hour. What's up, Forrest? Yeah, send it lower, Mitch. I hear you. And it's okay. It is okay. You're not going to get that raging cycle year-end run. I mean, how many people were thinking 300,000 and 250,000, and me, I was thinking 155, 160 as an extreme minimum, and that basically got canceled 4 weeks ago. Beyond the next few weeks, I'll just really focus on what's happening in the short term. I think we're going to have to trigger some oversold readings. The sooner the better. And if we keep dragging, that just eats up the time. Ethereum on the 12 hour, you don't normally look at that, but why not? If you guys are saying there's something there. 4 hour. Let's look at the 12 hour. 480. Hello. 12 hour. 67.20. There's your 12 hour. Oh, I see what you guys are getting at. All right, some kind of bat on the 12 hour. It's not pretty. And, okay, I'm glad you brought this up. It's helpful. All right. Again, indicators coming in to help you understand what's a reaction, what's a reversal. The software did kick out. This is your 12-hour chart on Ethereum. A bat structure with some confirmation, but we ran right into an overbought red arrow. Essentially, what that says is this is just a reaction. So let's send it back down. Important. That's one of the things we covered. Check out Thursday's session because we looked a lot at what makes a harmonic pattern an opportunity, and then what are the things that define how to manage it. And so especially if we're in a type 1 and we get a reaction and we run right into some kind of overbought signal, that's what that is. So HSI, check it out, went from overbought or oversold to overbought pretty quickly. Not a lot of price movement. So for me, that's going to take more time. More time, come on back down. I would say 3160 is an area that will likely get retested before we see anything else. And I say all of this again because what I like to do is throw out concrete levels, highlight strategy that helps you so you guys can make your own decisions on how to read the chart. Where's the opportunity? I mean, your latest influencer like Neon, how ridiculous. I mean, the stuff that is getting shilled out there, especially the younger generation, is like, I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to understand how people follow and get so popular like that. I have no clue who they are really, but they come across my X feed and I'm just like, who are these people? Why are they getting followed? And it just is almost antithesis of what the charts say. So Ethereum, slam it back down. Go. You're about to be bitch slapped back down to 3163. That's it. Beyond that, the rest of it, we don't even need to get into. Let's dive into stocks. You guys want to look at, well, a whole bunch of things. It is a whole other world, Wayne. And someone explain it to me. You know what it is? Excuse me. It's Revenge of the Nerds. Popular movie. Okay. in the 80s. That was the turning point, and the nerds took over, and then their kids basically took the mantle and ran with it. And so we're living in a mostly a nerd technocracy. They came up with the technology. They knew how to work it, and to their advantage. NASDAQ guys, what I want to look at right now, and this is all for the market, which we've been talking about why stocks NASDAQ needs a retrace. We did register oversold, guys. That was yesterday. We hit oversold HSI. For that to be a real signal where we could assume consolidate a continuation, let's retest that low. So it's been all over the place this morning, but yesterday's low at 269 is what I'll anticipate. Give me that first before we can end any kind of a retrace. And if you remember, you know, what's up here, I think it's best on the QQQ is that we're up at a 1618, which was our target really since the summer. Since we blew out the prior patterns, we're at the 1618. And again, 1618 was like 625, 630-ish. And we're digesting that whole move. Give me something. Are we going to get, just to outline what's possible, 1618. Would a 382 happen? Maybe, but let's take it a little more conservatively. Like a 236 would be a starting point. Let's monitor this. This really started, I would say, was last week, where we got the first breakdown off of that 1618. I'm still bullish, guys. I'm definitely my longer term strategy of where this market is going is still bullish, but we are going to need to have some retrace before we can resume the longer trend. You got to go up to go down and down to go up. Right now, we're at that temporary limit. Let's respect that 1618 from the February correction, January high to the March low. And it's pretty simple like this. The 1618, that's like the magic bean of harmonics. There you go. Down to a 382. That would be the maximum for now that I would consider. But even like a 236, still all of that points lower. And I will say this. What's going to trigger that? And I think it's going to be a break under last week's low. So we're 622, 621 at the moment. If we see this roll down over the next week or two under 600, that probably cinches it for now. The indicator, HSI indicator, is already under the 50 level and threatening a breakdown. That's going to be a big development if that happens. And then finally, the real acceleration, this is on a weekly no less, if Amplified has a week that rolls down like that, these are all the signs that then we would be in a full acceleration. I've been for a while saying that I thought early January we should see a pullback. Profit taking, what have you, excuse to sell, pay for the gains of this year. I think that's lining up for January. Could be early development of that happening now. Let's watch it. The concrete levels, though, are like a 3-bar breakdown, which is under 598 for Qs. But the big deal is we are at a 1618, and we're not busting through that 1618. If we were to go higher, and this is like I showed you in Zcash, you get to a 1618, like a major 1618, and you have even a 1-bar pause, 2-bar pause. That's telling you there's a reaction unfolding. Look at it that way. And it's natural market dynamics. That was the one thing for me, looking at the 1618 as like a natural iteration of any cycle, that that's the end of a growth phase. Retrace that growth phase and then let that come back. I mean, just like where we were last year or beginning of the year. Maybe not as severe, but I would say where we are here and looking for a retrace is a lot like where we were up here looking for a retrace. Long-term bull market still intact. Sizable or decent retrace here. Yeah, I'm not committing new longs right now. For sure. Couple others. Yeah, let's look at that. Let me scroll all the way back. So good to see you guys come on in here. Settle in. You guys wanted the oil. I thought that was interesting. Because oil, ExxonMobil, it's done nothing for a long time. Who is that? What's up? Cody wanted to look at XLE and ExxonMobil. Oh, because they're up today? Interesting. What's crude oil doing? Nice, up 2%. There's the weekly chart. Now, if we go back, look at XLE. Monthly. What's up here? We know there's big patterns. Looking left, 97, 99, and nothing has, oh man, nothing has materialized off of that type 2. But we are still in a type 2. And that's a monthly chart. We talked about this a couple of years ago. And the same thing in ExxonMobil and a lot of them. Select energy plays have done very well, but very, very few. It's kind of a disparate sector. Hold on one second. Thank you. And that doesn't change. Why hasn't that gone down on the monthly chart? Haven't really broken into, almost tried last month, but haven't really broken down yet on this monthly reading. What about the weekly? Where are we at? Yeah, I mean, look, we're still bumping against this big resistance. I would say anything above 90 is still resistance now. So, hasn't moved for how many years? 3, 4 years? You're up against big harmonic resistance. What about XOM? That's a lot like XLE. Yeah, look, the deep crab up there. Almost all-time new highs there for ExxonMobil, even though you've done nothing except for collect dividends. 120. Where's the monthly chart? That looks better. I mean, that's XOM looks better than XLE. I've always liked the refiners like Valero, ConocoPhillips. Maybe these are getting ready to do their thing after 3 years of nothing. What about, what's the other one? Schlumberger, SLB, like that. That's a little bit better. I mean, monthly down here is, where's the weekly? That was pretty nice at the low. Yeah, see, SLB, nice kind of bat structure, but guys, we've done nothing for a year. Maybe they'll start. What about crude oil futures? CL. Big difference. Individual stocks versus the spot price. Not a heck of a lot going on there. You're kind of at a pretty ugly bat pattern on type 2 where $61 trying to hold for now. I still think, and I've said this for a while, that I think crude oil should be at 50, 52. Not there yet. We also have this crazy massive monthly structure that seems like it wants to get hit with the XA level at 42. It's been kind of one of those quiet phases. It's almost like the way silver was for a long time before silver did anything. And, silver did nothing for decades, but then it put in some massive patterns on the monthly and started going. And I think the same. Like the spot price of crude oil, trend is still down. In terms of the individual stocks, what about nat gas? NG, we haven't looked at that in a long time. That explains it. There you go. Even though, nat gas at 455, that's actually some premium pricing. We are in the Ocnovi time period for nat gas, which is usually one of the most active spreads going into the winter. So nat gas looks pretty interesting. What do we got? We had a butterfly down at the low at 178, but now, yeah, see, this is the other thing. We're at targets for nat gas. So, despite, maybe that's why you guys are bringing them up, because they're catching a bid today. I think we're at limits. 477 for nat gas, crude oil, basically where it is now. And then like XLE and stuff. You're at resistance. Others, ConocoPhillips is one I'm watching. Here's ConocoPhillips on a weekly. I like that. ConocoPhillips at 87 is a type 2 reaction, type 1, back for the 2. No confirmation, but at least structurally, if you were looking for an energy play, that's a nice one. The other one I mentioned earlier this year that really skyrocketed was Valero. And I think if you guys remember back in, I guess it was June, we were looking at that at 105, 107. And I think Valero, is about to break out to all-time new highs. Super strong. Maybe look at that ConocoPhillips. So ConocoPhillips definitely, you've got everything you want to see there. You need confirmation, but the refiners are definitely the way to go. Oh, the other one was Marathon. Was it MRO? What is it? Marathon. Hold on. MPC. I normally don't get my. Oh, that's done a thing like Valero. Bottomed in March, an explosion. And that is something where the refiners long term, guys, those are the ones to stick with. They are gonna, whether oil is $50 or $100 a barrel, you're gonna need demand for refining. It probably in the future a multiple of what you currently have. So those are probably the best plays in that area. Not sure if there's others. I don't really have any of the refiners of those top 3. A couple others. Yeah, I hear that. What's up, Floyd? Floyd saying CRB index breaking down and against the industrials. Well, let's look at the industrials. I haven't. It's been a while, but the industrials are like this. Oh, it's DJI for the index. There you go. It's still up there. Up 500 today. Look, for NASDAQ being off 100, S&P is off fractionally. Industrials are up 500. Not at a 1618. Industrials are still happening on the weekly, and that's amazing. That's a different story than what we're seeing in NASDAQ currently. And not to mention, look, you survived this 50 test currently. That's pretty interesting. Weekly chart too, guys. Can we get to the 1618, which is like 50K on the Dow? Possibly. What's the daily look like? Daily looks strong on the industrials too. Look, we had the pattern. Okay, bat pattern from last year, from earlier this year. And they all had this bat pattern. But what was the thing that set it off was oversold readings got oversold pretty quickly at a high level in a bearish pattern. So that's your continuation. I wish they all looked like that. I wish Bitcoin looked like that. So follow that. I don't know. That's I didn't catch that the industrials were up 500 today, but all right. Of the three, that's your best chart so far. Pretty nice. What about that CRB? I have not looked at that CRB index in a long time. Where'd it go? CRB spot. No, that's not going to do it for us. What's a good commodity index? Commodity index. IMCI. Oh, what the heck? Okay, that's not going to work. Nope. Well, we can look at gold really quick. Gold right back up. Gold has been back above 4K now, 4,100. Gold put in this oversold dot, and this is something that has got me wondering if gold wants to do it now, not come down under 4K. This just happened literally on Friday. So gold had the big correction. Our numbers were 4,100. Got oversold in a perfect way against the bearish pattern. Arrow and then dot, so there you go. And I would be looking at that. If we get a retrace to back to like 39.80, that's probably the next jump on point. I'm not too concerned with missing it just yet, but that's a great sign. That's the kind of signal where, yeah, that pattern was annihilated. Just absolutely annihilated. And it's more about the weekly chart. In the short term, are we going to trigger the move? And I said this a week ago, my longer term targets on gold are still, we're going to go full 3618 up to about 5,400. But where do we do that from? We're coming into the seasonal bullish time, November, December, January, all bullish times for precious metals. Where's the trigger? I think it's probably off this dot that completed on Friday. Yeah, we were up a little bit. We're rolling over. Let's monitor that, because I do think if gold's going to realize it's all time, and I mean all time, like go to the monthly, come on back here and start throwing up your big expansion numbers, all-time cycle numbers like this. This has been the way we've been looking at this all along. Of the 2008 correction here, 2010, we're going from there up to, what is it, 3618 is there already. 3618 was 4,300 on that. What was the 5,400? Hold on. I don't think it's that. No. How did I get 5,400? I'm going to have to come back this. 3618 all time is 4,200, 4,150. That's been our main number. But where did I come up? Did I just pull that out of my, you know what? Let me come back to that. I still think we got to look at 3,900 as a trigger. Let me come back to why I came up with 4. It escapes me at the moment. I like it, and in fact, I probably like the silver chart even more, because silver's back above 50, and silver has a ways to go against some real heady resistance. Oh, look at this. All right. Oh, man, where'd it go? The software just had it. Hold on. Why is that disappearing on me? Let me go SLV. Maybe that's what I was thinking, silver 54. Silver like this, SLV. Yeah, I don't know why that's disappearing. But silver has been this. It's an all-time 886. And I guess this is going to help the cause here. You want to know if commodities are going to explode? Look at the 886 right here, right now. 886 is like 4,500. What's happening? You get a blowout here, and I guess that's like 49-ish. That's on SLV ETF. Then we could start to look for more, like a 113 expansion. That's how we get the 5,400. 54 bucks, not 5,400 on gold. Although that gold thing does bother me. I don't know what's going on there. I'll look at this. I'm just wondering at this point, are we going to do a super cycle move for gold and silver? Unthinkable levels. And for silver, you know, that's to do a 1618. You go from the high to low, especially with having a pattern going back, looking left from a decade ago. And yes, that's relevant and it does matter. A 1618 expansion gets you to like 72 bucks. Would be amazing. And I think it all depends on how you finish the month. And we finish the month, get a strong close above it. Yeah, then you shoot the gap. Interesting stuff. One or two more that I want to make sure I don't miss. Related to silver, I've talked about solar. And the solar ETF, guys, the TAN is in full mode to go to target 1. Remember this? We've been on this all year. And we're now 51.65, ready to go to 63.90. But look at how beautiful that bat pattern is. There, type 1, do the reaction. I think that's a minimum. That's a minimum up to 63. And there's been a bunch of individual stocks that have done quite well. You're down $1.20 today, but we have been seeing this thing ping pong, up $2, down 150, up $3, down $2, but it's making big progress. I would say Solar Edge had some massive moves in the last 2 weeks. That's a big pattern. Now, this is a great setup because, and we talked about this on Thursday, the pattern's there, but the opportunity is where the confirmation sits. The pattern, the XA level was 73, but the trade opportunity was like 13. And it is type 1. Really nice price action coming out of the zone. I still say that's an opportunity. As crazy as it might be, it is a target one. I would use the XA level as like the first objective though. All right, so get to 73 and then we can talk about target 1. But Solar Edge, TAN, First Solar, I mean, these are things that are winning. Look at First Solar. That thing's ready to break out. You know, I had a pretty nasty correction in 24. But look, this long-term trend is intact. And then you had others like, what was it, Sunfun Solar, I think. What was that? Where are you? Hold on. Sunrun. Guys, I really like this chart. And I'm not seeing too many opportunities that are in this relative position where they haven't mooned just yet. But if it's anything like TAN or Solar Edge, that's a massive downtrend breakout. I know there's some patterns here too. They're at the lows. There you go. Weekly shark pattern at 1680. Currently 19. 1680 is the number you want to be looking at. Let that come back in. But massive patterns looking left, Nice development. I mean, phew, $5 at the back in March, April. That's another. And then CSIQ. Oh, I already did it. Look at that sucker. That was just in the last 2, 3 weeks. So there are opportunities. There are things you don't have to chase. This is an area to be looking. Yeah, I mean, even off of that Gartley, of this kind of looping, crazy type 2, up all the way back down where 12 was a floor. There aren't too many areas like this. A lot of them, big tech, everything has exploded. This is an area, though, that I think has a ways to go. The correction that was the last few years, it's over. I would be looking at some new opportunities there. I don't know what other. First Solar, look at that. SEI, Solaris. Oh, shit, look at that. Wow. All right, that one's already run. But you get my point. Okay, there are areas that are developing. We don't have to chase them up a flagpole. That's amazing. I wish I had seen that earlier. But there was one other one that is it's not CSIQ. Maybe was it CSUN? No. Anyway, you get the point. Okay, what else? TNDM, Mitch is looking at. Tandem Diabetes Care. Nice. Like I said, there are things developing. Nice one, Mitch. Really nice. What is this? Well, you got a whole bunch of levels down here. 13. I don't know. Tandem Diabetes Care. Pretty interesting. I don't know what's the volume on that. 2 million. Trading 2 million. That's pretty good. But more importantly is what's happening down at these lows. You're 17 currently. That's nice, man. Thank you for that contribution. And again, these are the kind of new ideas that we should be looking for. I mean, a lot of things have played out, and we do need to kind of stretch our population of potential candidates to things like this or solar opportunities that have done the work they need to do. And this one, if it's a real type 1, you're going a lot higher. I'll keep that one on the board. That's a beautiful one. TNDM. We will add that to the list. Nice. Couple more. Oh, that was on a monthly too. I was just looking at the weekly. Monthly's got patterns. Weekly's an all-time 886. Nice. Couple others. SKE. So here's the other. Yeah, I think you see a lot of those precious metal resource plays. This could be another one. No, I can't do anything with that. Again, this would be chasing something up a flagpole, as I like to say. The one that Mitch gave us was more to my liking, where it hasn't done the move. This one, you just have to wait for a pullback. Daily oversold. You don't even have a daily, if that one is running, you need to wait for oversold signals like that and that and that. That's not ready. I get what you're saying. It's definitely flying, but not yet. I tell you, the uranium area is another one that we've looked at in the past and did the explosion move. And CCJ, I know we looked at that a while ago. What was down? Oh, daily, I think we had some patterns earlier in the year. Yes, kind of down here, but UEC was the one that comes to mind, where UEC, and it played out. but I'm looking for next set of opportunities. Like UEC did a huge spike move. It's got patterns, definitely. I mean, we had some nice back-to-back stuff. It spent a year or two at $4 or $5 and then rocketed to 17. That's okay. We'll get another opportunity. I mean, don't the way I would look at this, I think uranium and all that those related plays are a place to be fishing at the right price. We'll let this come down. Maybe we'll get a dot down here. Maybe not to target one, but looking for some kind of continuation yellow dot like we had back in May, where then it really took off. A couple more. Got S&P coming back a little bit, NASDAQ coming back a little bit. I guess with the Dow up 500, that helps. What about, here we go. Wayne wants to look at Netflix, Clean Spark, SMCI. Yes, be patient. Mr. Affairs wants to look at BTBT. Yeah, we know that that's kind of swimming underwater, but I'm not surprised. Netflix, Netflix and Clean Spark. Well, Netflix is oversold. And Netflix did generate some signals recently. Where's the Daily Shark at 1075. Not a bad idea, especially with this dot. So if we're looking at mega cap, mega tech, this could be a good spot for Netflix. It's kind of like this. We have a dot that triggered 2 weeks ago. Last week we checked back. Today we're following through. I kind of like that idea. We have it now. We had that back in March. You had a dot back in October. And that's a good thing to have in an uptrend. So, look, Netflix is a good idea in terms of respecting the trend, waiting for a retracement play. Where's the next jump on point, as I like to say? Is probably in here around 1100 for this whole channel to continue. A couple of those others. SMCI is the big one, I think, for me. I agree with you. I do like it, but where are we going to get that signal? We're looking for this to go back up, target one. What was that? It was back in June we got the overbought, and they've slammed it down. But I do think that we're going to get a dot. We have HSI went with oversold trigger. Now you're checking back, but you're still probably 2 green bars away from even thinking that's an opportunity yet. I like this because I do think this is a stock, this is a chart that they got crushed on some accounting concerns. Their big data center play, AI, whatever. But we are probably going to get that next signal somewhere in here. If that's 37, 35, 32, we're starting to look. But no rush. Really, no rush. But line it up, and we'll monitor this, because if we can get the dot, and we're nowhere near yet. I mean, I've liked the idea forever, really, for a long time. I just never got a trigger on it. But I do like it. It kind of reminds me of Dell from earlier this year. Remember Dell with the Type 1 and the Type 2? It was pretty crazy. 77. Dell was actually a daily back here. Dell is now a Type 2 bearish crab, almost at target. I mean, did that hit that today? 136.29. T2 is 136.19. Let's see. Yeah, this was the Dell chart, Type 1 and Type 2. But I wouldn't want to jump on SMCI yet. I need to see some triggers. Not there yet. Couple more. BT, what do you do with that? Again, I've been saying like $4, $3. It's now $3. It's a T2, guys. You're at target 2 right now. Like a lot of the other ones that have come in, Mara, Clean Spark, we're going to get another trigger. Almost oversold. Not there yet. I really thought that was close to a breakout, but no. And I think you're fine. Like, I really think you're fine. I think you get back for this retest later on. Just since we've gone through this retrace, Ethereum, that's why it's making it, it's you having to pay on it. Clean Spark is another where massive explosion ran into some overbought signals. And I was impressed with this because of what some of the other ones had done. And so, okay, we now have a dot. Clean Spark now has a dot as of the check back today. Retest. Start looking. Really start looking. Incredibly, we were 23. Now we're 1396. But I'm just going to start looking tomorrow, in the next couple of days. Would be great for the bat, as this has kind of been a regular set situation, but if we could get to 1185, that would be a big number. And we're oversold. Let it come out of this zone. I mean, Amplified, HSI, those are all oversold. It could be a few more days before we see anything turn around on that. But if you wanted in on Clean Spark, today's probably day one on this retrace. It's not yet, but it's getting there. A little closer. Mr. Smith, what's going on? Wants to look at Nike. You know, I haven't looked at Nike in about 2 months. Where are we? 63. We're right back at the lows. Nice bat pattern, though. And I know Nike's got some big weekly patterns. And here's a great case of, I wouldn't say old economy, but this was a trender from the 90s, 2000s, even up to about really like 2022. Yeah. This was in a mega uptrend. Probably need to go to a monthly chart. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That trend popped. Is there an opportunity in Nike, guys? Where is it? Because that weekly bat pattern there, we've been staring $73 for a long time. Probably at what we need to see happen, can we get some progress where we get back above the 50? It's a good idea, guys. It really, I like the idea of saying, okay, Nike, you know, it's around forever. It's something that has lost over 50% of its value within the context of the long-term trend. It's a good idea, but what's the right price? And I think that can easily be discerned by simply saying, where's the breakout? Are we breaking out of the downtrend? Not yet. Getting closer, but we have to wait for that to develop. And I would also say you got to throw that into the category of potential tax loss candidates that will be thrown out towards the end of the year. That is a thing. And I'd be looking for that into December, where we're not ready yet. Pattern, great. Confirmation even. But downtrend has not been resolved. A couple more. Oracle. Man, you guys have a lot today. Oracle's like this. I'm going to rip through a few more minutes. Oracle. Oh, on the retrace. Yeah, we're at the 382, 234. And I'm looking for, where is it? That's right. Look here. Now it's getting interesting. Do we have patterns? Yes. What are they? Shark, Gartley, confirmation. That's about all we need. And longer term, I like Oracle. I think it's something where, yeah, we need to find a spot, jump on it, and go. Down here, 245, currently 234. It might be 218 or 220, but frame it out like this. This is your ballpark area. Like 210, that's the zone. And that's a longer term play. Can we get oversold? Something down here that gives us a trigger? Because HSI is deep in the oversold area. Over the next couple of weeks, I think that will give you another point to jump on within this accelerated trend. It's not ready yet, but I like it. You know, I like the progress it's made. You know, go to all-time chart. You know, that's a massive uptrend. Did a huge breakout earlier in the year. Now you're still inside on this monthly candle. And just so we look at it like this, retest that range. You've got patterns down in here. I do like it. You know, it's kind of like Nvidia was way back when. Nvidia had a huge bump up, retraced. Everyone thought that was the end all be all, but it just kept on going. I think Oracle and several other of those keep going. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia just pausing up at the 1902, this whole 1618, 1902 range. Looks like this, like that. Okay, your 1618 was 195. That's been our target all year. And then 1902 up at 213, 215, something like that. It was like spot on. So Nvidia is just a pause. There's no bearish confirmation. And I still really like the SOX index. Someone wanted to look at Intel, and we'll get to that in 1 second. But again, semiconductors, you're just pausing here. You're at a look, semis, another one at a 1618. It's a 1618 pause. That's all it's doing. It's done an incredible 100% off the low. Hits your 1618. Let it pause. Let it do some kind of a retrace. We'll get another opportunity. It's got a lot of bearish signals right now. So, you know, I've probably been one of the most bullish people on semiconductors, period. I'm still bullish on semis. I just think we have to go through a retrace phase. That's where you're at. A couple more. Hey, before I go any further, let's give away a 30-day trial to Harmonic Pattern Collection for the next person that types in HPC 30. All right, you got to DM me on the Discord, and I'll set you up with a 30-day package. Got it. 30 days, HPC. Okay, and we'll give you, you know, special bonus too. Dennis, you are the winner. Dennis, you got to DM me on Discord. Anybody else that wants to join our Discord, simply access that link. Dennis, you will get the package and 30 days. Okay. Of course, you get the Black Friday special. Everyone else, what I'm going to recommend, simply get the free trial to TradingView. The other platforms you can check out, and you're encouraged to try them all for free, like that. But send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. One or two more, and I think that's what I have, all I can do and give you for today. But thanks. Yeah, Rivian. Mitch has got another great one. Rivian is something where we looked at that a couple weeks ago, and I said, man, it's been so long into this area. Let's get it some development and breaking out, and maybe it's starting. Maybe Rivian needs to be looked at. Hasn't officially taken out all this resistance, but man, this could be the 1 week where it does. Rivian, you know, that's a massive long-term base, the support trigger, like $10. Plenty of time on this, but I do like it. I'm gonna like it a lot more. I've been looking at this. Like, there's really something going on here, and it's early stages. On the monthly chart, for me, this is the big development, and I talk a lot about why this stuff needs to get above when we're monitoring any indicator. This is a huge breakout before price even. We're above the 50 level, okay? Major turnaround for the first time ever on Rivian. We're above the 50. This is where acceleration can really happen. So here's the daily. And this was the other interesting thing on the daily. We literally had the check back on yesterday, a high level. So you're up $1, but Rivian's got all the sauce you want to see. Okay, couple of patterns looking left, but this high level HSI signal for me, really curious. And again, the other part of this larger development going on is we've had bullish signals, 1 and 2 at a higher level. There's a third one where this could go. It kind of reminds me of solar. Kind of reminds me of Solar Edge before it made its big move. And if we're going to look at the big patterns looking left, which is, there's like 4 of them. The crab, a couple of others all down here. It's been a lot of noise for a long time. Maybe you're waking up. You got objectives at like 23, $24. So, I'm watching. That's a new one as well. There's the 4-hour chart. If I get a pullback on it, even like an hourly, that might, yeah, you're a little overbought at the moment, but if I can get something, 16, 15, something like that, I would look at it. I do agree that the evidence for that whole argument has changed. Let's keep on it. 1 or 2 more and I'm out. Dennis wants to look at IQ. 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 IQIY. IQIYI. Daily. Not sure what this is. What internet software? Yeah. That's a little bit different. Maybe if we can put in some more work and establish the lows down here. Daily anything? Kind of. I think things like this, to expect anything large other than maybe from 214 back to 240, you're still muted at this point. All right, if we go back, yeah, I mean, again, you're kind of low floater territory. So, 237's the number. That's the 113. Hop is 167. Let's call it $2. Yeah, I mean, well, bring that up. Like if we can get above 250, then maybe you got something. Don't know. Yeah, the weekly is not yet. Bring this back up, like in a week or so. Interesting. I mean, I can see what you're trying to get at. It's just, I want stuff that's in development more so, trending more so. Like, again, the solar ETF TAN has been a really good example of something that crashed out, stabilized, and gave you plenty of time to get in on it. Yeah, got it. Mr. Silva, yeah, what's going on? We'll look at BAC. We haven't looked at too many banks lately. What's Bank of America doing? All-time new highs. Hello. Wow. Not bad. That's nice. Yeah, I guess we can't really be looking for too much there. 53. Yeah, I mean that's great. What it does above the all-time highs is really going to tell us. Get above 55 and this thing is really taking off. I'll tell you one Mitch looked at last night or the night before was Wells Fargo. Shout out to my brother. He's been working there for over a decade. And yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. The banks are doing that. What about the XLF? Almost all-time new highs, guys. Remember that was down there at $4. Jeez. 2008 lows. Don't know. Yeah, really, no kidding. Laugh my A off. What's up? Oxman wants to look at XPeng, the Chinese Tesla, XPEV. Kind of like Rivian, right? Fairly interesting. That's a nice bat at $8, now 27. Yeah, I like that. In the short term, deal with the Gartley. But I see what you're saying. And we do have things that are trying to stabilize and turn around. You know, you have your all-time range, and this is something I've talked about before, where you get like full 886. You know, they do the IPO, crazy run it, then they come back for the 886 and you start the whole process over. And that's what that is. But that's a nice chart. I think I like Rivian more because you're just starting to get out of the zone. But that one, all right, I've got that. I will add that to my list, XPEV, and maybe you should too. Good one. Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody. I'm just still I'm not 100% yet, but I will be by Thursday. Certainly go check out Thursday's session. A really good strategy session of like what defines a harmonic pattern opportunity and everything that we do involved with the harmonic pattern collection software. You guys can get it. 2-week trial. Send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. And if you have any questions, DM me over in the Discord. All right. Thanks, folks. That's what I have for today. Catch you back Thursday, 12:30-ish. Until then, as always, go get 'em.